Hi there, I am the real Miss Lacey, your intuitive money mindset coach and healer. I am back with the lesson from our Money Monday message. So stick tuned so you can learn about how to control your emotions and your feelings in order to make sure that you are in control of manifesting your dreams. All right, so this is our very first lesson, and I'm very excited to dive deep with you so that I can help to unravel the message that the guides brought us this week. And they're right on time, and you're going to learn that as you follow me. They are right in line and right on time all of the time. And I love that the very first lesson that we are learning to implement in our manifestation journey is the difference between feelings and emotion and the ability to control that. So one of the very first cards that came out was the card that said, I can pivot from feeling bad to good. And basically, what that is letting us know is that we have to harness the control. We need to take the control back and control our emotions and our feelings, which will then give us the power to control what we are able to manifest. If you don't believe that you can chin check yourself, then you really don't believe that you can manifest anything into your life. So we have to start with the root, with the beginning, with being grounded. And part of that is realizing the difference between emotions and feelings and what we can do to control that, to overcome those instant reactions. So I've taken some notes, so you'll see me look off into the notes to make sure that I stay online and I don't forget any important information. And I want to start with feelings versus emotions. So the exact definition of a feeling is this. While emotions are associated with bodily reactions that are activated through neurotransmitters and hormones released by the brain, feelings are the conscious experience of emotional reactions. So emotions are the neurological reaction to an emotional stimulus, which can be measured. So because feelings are sparked by emotions, a lot of times we get confused with the two. And if you lack control in one area, you lack control of the whole entire sphere. So let's dive a little bit deeper, and I'm going to give you some examples. Now, a feeling can be measured through self-awareness and self-assessment. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that my theme of 2022 is self-awareness and self-assessment. My theme is self-love, and the only way we can accomplish the divine self-love is being aware of self. So again, as you can see, these messages are always right online. All right, so let's get into it. Now, an emotion is an example of being sad, angry, upset. That's an emotion. The actual feeling is, what does it feel like in the subtle body when you are angry? So what does it feel like when you get upset? Being upset is the emotion. The feeling that you have about being upset, it could be that your palms sweat. You know, if you're a fighter, you might ball your fist up instinctively. You might your heart beating fast. Those are the feelings we get tied to the emotion. So if we can control the emotion, which is, let's say, getting anger, control our anger, then we won't have that feeling of the heartbeat, of the palm sweating. So as you can see, they go hand in hand. Let's dig a little deeper. If you control how you feel about something, then you can control your emotions around it. And the way you feel about something is a programmed belief. For example, I did a video not too long ago about my money trauma. You know, there was a time in life where I was broke. I didn't have a lot of money. I struggled to make ends meet, and those last couple of days before payday were pretty scary. and going through the grocery store could sometimes be a nightmare because I needed food. I needed to buy the food to feed the family. But I only had this much money when I needed this much food to make it to the next paycheck. So I expressed how I always, even now to this day, get the same feeling in my body when I'm in the checkout. My palms start to sweat, my heart starts to pound. And because I've disconnected from the emotion of being scared, I'm working through the subtle body action, and that is the programming. And how you work through that is you have to reprogram. You remove the old program and replace it with something else. And that's how we begin to move forward. In my coaching, Dream Timeline Accelerator, I walk you through a 6-step energetic practice that I use myself that helps me to control both those emotions and feelings. Because sometimes, a lot of times, that programming that we picked up as a child is instinct. Just it happens automatically. I still have the feeling of my heart beating and my stomach tightening in line at the grocery store like I'm broke and I got thousands of dollars in the bank. Okay, so I'm no longer scared, but my body still has that energetic programming that I'm working to overcome. Okay, so a way to do that, the best way to do that is to integrate your inner knowing. And that was another card that came up in the reading. And the power of knowing yourself, you're being self-aware, and understanding your intuition allows you to decipher what's really going on. It helps you to say, when you're in that grocery line and your heart starts to be like, what am I doing? Why is my heart beating? Oh, that's that feeling I got when I was broke. I'm not broke. Stop it. That's that inner knowing. That's your intuition. That's trusting yourself. So I'm going to give you the literary definition of inner knowing. Inner knowing is a gestalt. A gestalt is an organized whole that is perceived as more than the sum of its parts. Okay? So inner knowing is a gestalt. It's a sense felt multidimensionally through thoughts, feelings, and body sensations. It's the intrinsic wisdom honored by your life experience. It goes by many names: intuition, gut feeling, the inner navigator, discernment. And this is something we need to practice and lean on. We all have this, but a lot of times we ignore it. Have you ever walked into a room and people were talking and you walked in and all of a sudden you're looking around like, what's up? You're reading the energy. We're all energetic beings, so we all have the power to read energy. And your intuition is what's telling you, they were talking about me, they were talking about something they didn't want me to know, what are they hiding? All of that is your intuition. Sometimes you might get the feeling of, oh, I should turn right instead of turn left. The best way to master your discernment, your intuitive knowing, is to practice listening to that. When you get that little nudge, that little voice or inner knowing that says, go right, don't go left, or wake up, it's time to get up, and you just hit the snooze button and you go back to sleep, practice listening to it. And then journal, keep a track record as to what happened. Something told me to get up this morning, and I got up this morning and I just missed an accident. Something told me to turn left and I turned left, and if I would have turned right, I would have been late to work. Practice listening to that inner voice. It's there for a reason. And remember, these are all steps to manifesting your dreams. Again, number 1, understanding your emotions and your feelings, becoming self-aware and in control of your emotions and your feelings. That leads into listening and understanding to your inner knowing, practicing your discernment. And the next thing that was brought up in the message was surrendering to the fear of intimacy. Now, how this correlates is this. A lot of times we have blocks that we're not aware of. If you're not practicing or doing the work, then there are things that are trapped in your energetic aura that you're unaware of. And I'll give you a prime example. I heard once in a webinar that we were only born with 2 fears. And I had to Google it and make sure it's true. And let me find that in my notes. We were born with 2 fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Those were the 2 fears, the only 2 fears that we were born with. Everything else that you're afraid of is programming. If you're not doing the inner child work, the shadow work, the digging up any wounds or traumas, you aren't aware of that. And you are living in the dark of what is real and what is reality. And that can be a point of holding you back from your manifestation. All of those other fears, the fear of strangers, the fear of, money in the grocery store, all of that is programming. And if we lean into our intuition and allow and open up that door to intimacy, that helps to heal our heart. That will heal our heart and bring us closer to the divine. You see, they told me to slow that down and make sure you heard that loud and clear. Following your discernment, being in control of your emotions and your feelings, allows you the ability to surrender to the intimacy, which opens up your heart chakra and leads you closer to the divine. That is a key point. So let's define intimacy, because a lot of times when we hear this word, we only think of sexual or romantic relationships, and it's a lot deeper than that. The definition of intimacy is: intimacy usually denotes mutual vulnerability, openness, and sharing. It is often present in close, loving relationships, such as marriages and friendships. The term is also sometimes used to refer to sexual interactions, but intimacy does not have to be sexual. There are actually 4 different types or levels to intimacy. There is the emotional intimacy, breaking down the walls, allowing people in, showing your heart, letting people know that you love them, expressing your love to the divine, devoting your life to X, Y, and Z. Those are all levels of emotional intimacy. The next is intellectual intimacy. Intellectual intimacy is cultivating your mind and your thoughts in a way that is open and clear to hear. Then you have experimental intimacy, experimenting, being open to try new things and go new places and discover new avenues. And then there's spiritual intimacy, devoting an act of spiritualness, creating ritual, going to church, praying. Those are all different levels of intimacy. So we want to be well-rounded. And again, all of this allows us to create this energetic sphere that we can ball our dreams up into and throw out into the world and watch it shower down into a manifestation. These are all key, important topics. Now, the next thing that was brought up was paying attention to the signs. And this, again, goes along with everything. Signs can be A feeling. You ever go somewhere and your hairs stand up or you get chills? Pay attention to those signs. What are you doing when that happens? What are you doing when that happens? When you get that dropping, sinking feeling in your stomach, what's going on around you? Are you scared? Are you just hungry? You got gas? You got the BGs? Like, what is it? Cultivating a level of self-awareness and paying attention to the signs. Look at signs in nature. Look at when the wind blows, or when a bird flies by, or when the sun comes out, or when it rains. What is happening around you in that moment? These are, again, all very key important pointers into manifestation. And these, ironically, I just thought about it right now, these are all levels in phase one in Dream Timeline Accelerator. I teach and help cultivate each of these topics and a few more into my clients' practice so that we can get grounded, we can cleanse out all of the negativity, and we can build a solid foundation so that, just like a flower, we can plant the seed, we water it, we tend to it like we're gardeners, and we watch it manifest and grow. So I don't want to keep you long. I've boiled this lesson down to, let me see, I did it under 20 minutes, okay? So I want to give you some homework. But before I do that, let's recap. There are 4 key points here in order to get closer to manifesting your dreams. Number 1, understanding that you have the power from pivoting from bad to good. And how you do that is understanding your feelings and your emotions. Is this a feeling? Is this an emotion? Why do I have this feeling? What is this emotion about? Understanding the root, where it comes from, digging up that dirt will help you to heal it. The next thing was integrating your inner knowing, establishing and cultivating that intuition, the discernment. You know, when someone tells you, not someone, when you get that voice, when they tell you, turn right, don't turn left, stop, don't go, you know, we've all been there. Come on, ladies. You've met a guy and been like, he is not the one, but you still took his number and you still called him and you still went out with him and you still gave it up and you're still complaining about him. Okay, so learn to listen to that inner knowing, because sometimes we know that he's not it. Okay, and then it comes to surrendering to that fear of intimacy. A lot of times we're scared to be vulnerable, and that could be that we're in a place that we shouldn't be. If that's the case, remove yourself. Practice that self-awareness. Understand you, yourself, your subtle body energy. Why do I have these feelings and these emotions? What is it coming from? And if it's coming from your environment, relocate yourself. Change your environment. You lean into that intimacy on all levels, the emotional, breaking down walls, intellectual. You know, me and my man, we'll sit up all night talking about business plans, what we want to do with the kids, how that's intellectual intimacy. Talking, conversating, learning. We take classes together. You know, all of that is important. Then it's experimental learning, doing new things, trying. What you're doing isn't working. If it was, you wouldn't be here learning how to manifest. So that fear of trying something new, we have to heal the root of the fear so that we can move past it and open those doors. Then the spiritual intimacy, getting closer and connecting with the divine. The next thing is paying attention to the signs. And that is a perfect way to wrap this up. Pay attention to that noise that you get, that feeling, that inner knowing of what's right and what's wrong and what's good for you. Stop ignoring it. It's there. It's coming to you for a beautiful reason. And when you surrender that intimacy and you practice listening to that inner knowing and you pay attention to the signs from nature, from the signs that are being brought to you, now that is when you're able to manifest. So I want to give you a little bit of homework. The first thing I'd like for you to do is spend some alone time in the morning. Get up early, 5-10 minutes, 10, I would prefer 20 minutes, but start with at least 10 minutes early and just sit. Sit with yourself and meditate. Feel what you feel. What emotions do you have? What's going on? Set the intention for the day. My intention is to pay attention to my feelings and my emotions. My intention is to practice listening to that inner knowing and opening up discernment. My intention is to find some spiritual intimacy. And then another thing, I'm only going to give you 2 pieces of homework. The other thing is a gratitude journal. At the end of the night, take a few moments and write down 5 things that you are grateful for. And that can be, I'm grateful that I got to work on time. I'm grateful that I listened to this video. I'm grateful that I didn't get a call from the school and the kids made it through a whole day without getting in trouble. I'm grateful for that salad I got from Wendy's yesterday. It was good. It can be huge things. I'm grateful for the divine being a part of my life. I'm grateful for the love that I receive. Practice those 2 things and let me know how it goes for you. Write me a message in the comments and tell me how you feel. All right. Bye for now. Ashe.